This video explains how you can work with build pipelines and release pipelines in Azure DevOps. So in the pipeline section, you can see there is a pipelines link. Just click on that and then over there you can create build pipelines. To create the release pipelines, you will have to click on releases. So main difference between this pipeline and releases pipeline is that in the build pipeline, all we want to do is we want to build the project, compile the project and produce the artifact. Once the artifact is produced, that artifact will be consumed by the release pipelines. So I will explain you in detail with one example how it works. So in the pipelines, we need to specify the repository. For example, here I have set up one build pipeline. And if I show you the steps in that pipeline, you can see here, I'm running the Maven task and goal is compiled. So I'm compiling the project and then next task is I'm publishing the artifact. So in most of the build pipelines, this is the workflow that they will follow. They will build project and then produce the artifact with this artifact name. Now, how do you generate this YAML file is by selecting the tasks here. So you can see there are different types of tasks: .NET Core, ANT, Android signing, etc. So all you need to do is just click on the task and then this YAML file will be automatically generated for you. For example, build and then click on add. So you can see here the task is added. So based upon your situation, you can select different types of tasks. In Azure DevOps, you can work on any kind of project like .NET, Java, or say Python, Ruby, PHP. All types of platforms or the languages, tools are supported in Azure DevOps. All you need to do is pick up the correct task from here and then that build process will be kicked off. So that is how you create the build pipeline. Now next is a release pipeline. So as I said earlier, the artifacts that are produced by the build pipeline are consumed in release pipelines. So if I show you here, this is one release pipeline, and if I click on edit, you can see this is how typical release pipeline looks like. We have to specify the artifacts. Here you can add the artifact by clicking on add button and then refer to the build pipeline that I was showing earlier. Once the artifact is here, that artifact is consumed by one of the stages. So you can think of stages as your environments, for example, dev, UAT, pre-prod, prod, like that. And each stage will have a set of variables. For example, in dev environment, you need to work with the dev variables. In UAT, there will be different variables. So the source is same, like the artifact is same. Only thing is that environment is different. And to add the stages, you can click here and then click on new stage, then give the stage name. So here you can see I have specified one stage, the dev which contains two tasks. One is bash script task and other one is Maven task. Here you can specify the agent as well. Here I'm selecting Ubuntu agent. And as I said earlier, you can also associate variables with the pipeline. So here you can see there is one variable that I've associated with this pipeline, and there are scopes as well for the variables. So scopes can be of two types. One is a release type and other is stage related. For example, here I have got three stages: dev, UAT and pre-prod. So when I create a variable which has got say dev, then that variable can be accessed by that stage only, not by others. Similarly, if I say there is a UAT stage and then I set a variable scope as UAT, then that variable will be accessible only in that stage. But when I say that variable has got release scope, that means that variable will be accessible by all the stages. So that's the main difference between the stage scope and release scope. And in the variable groups, what happens is, let us say there are 5 release pipelines and all of them need certain variables. So instead of creating the variables for each pipeline, what we do in variable groups is we create a set of variables and then we give the access to all the pipelines to those variables. So the main benefit of having variable groups is that the duplicate variables are removed and then same variables can be shared by multiple pipelines. So that is the reason why we go for the variable groups. To link the variables groups, you can click here and then link the existing variable groups. You can also specify the scope here as well. And in the library, you can manage those variable groups. If I go here, I've created one variable group which contains these two variables, ID and password. And if I go back to the release pipeline, here you can see there is one pipeline, release pipeline, and this is the artifact, and this is one job or one task is running here. I'm deploying one application. In some release pipelines, what happens is, let us say there are 5 pipelines again, and all pipelines need, say, 2 tasks: build and, say, execute the test. So we don't need to repeat those tasks, like add those tasks individually to each pipeline. What you can do is you can create the task group. For example, if I go here, Maven unit, if I click edit, you can see here there are 2 tasks, and let us say in UAT also we have got the same tasks. Then what we normally do is, instead of keeping these 2 tasks here, we create the task group by right clicking on them and then clicking on create task group, say task group 2. Then we can also pass the parameters if you want, and then click on create. So what we have done is we have created the group of tasks with name task group 2. Now next time, let us say you want to use the same tasks in UAT stage as well. Then what you do is you click on this one, add a task, and then here you can put task group 2 that we have created and click on add. So the same tasks that we have defined earlier will be used by this stage as well. So that is the main purpose of task group. Just like in variable groups, how we can save the variables or remove the duplicate variables in the task group as well. We remove the duplicate steps and group them together. If you want to change any task in that task group, you can change it here, and all the pipelines that use this task group will get impacted because of that. So you need to be very careful when you are changing the task group. You need to check which release pipelines are using this task group, and that you can do through the references. From here you can check which task groups are using that, which pipelines are using this task groups. So that's it in this video. If you have more questions related to the build pipeline and release pipelines, let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching this video.